It's really important for me as a head teacher to have a high profile. I firmly believe in that.
A leader, I think, is someone who gets people to perform beyond their perceived capabilities.
Essentially what happened is that I was seconded, if you like, onto the senior leadership team to lead writing across the whole school.
Good morning, you all right? I'm good, I'm very good. Morning, boys. Hello, Kevin. How you doing?
When Yvonne Powell joined Little Ilford School as head teacher 3 years ago, she quickly established that poor literacy skills were standing in the way of many pupils making progress and were the main reason for the school's weak results at GCSE.
OK, I'm going to wander into assembly now. Tayyab, get to registration and get your shoes on quickly, please. Literacy is absolutely essential. It's essential now to the students' lives, and it's even more essential to them being employable, first and foremost, let alone the opportunities that could be ahead of them if they're able to write, speak in a certain way in terms of continuing with their education.
We have a fabulous opportunity, probably more than any other place in the whole wide world, to be with people from all over the world, to see different cultures.
In a school where it's not unusual for a third of the intake to arrive with a level 3 or below in English, and almost 90% of pupils are learning English as an additional language, raising standards in literacy was never going to be an easy task. But the senior leadership has united in making literacy a priority.
The reason why we need to get the level 3s up is quite simple, because by the end of year 9, if they're not up to level 5, they have less chance of being successful in Key Stage 4, and they won't do well in their GCSE results. For example, a level 5 student has a 51% chance of getting 5 A stars to Cs. If you're on level 4, however, the percentage reduces to 6%. So you can see the importance of getting students up to level 5.
Early on, it was agreed the school would focus on teaching literacy across the whole curriculum, and that a targeted literacy intervention programme would also be needed as soon as pupils joined the school.
Because we have such a high number of students coming in at level 3 or below for their writing, we've really had to put in some intervention processes. Now, there's so much out there in terms of supporting teachers and schools in doing this, but it's about selecting what's appropriate for your students. So, for example, the first thing we did in the first year was introduce the literacy progress units. They've been out there for a while, they're available to all schools to use.
Kevin, can you read the second one?
You could be training in the ice fields of Siberia. Siberia.
After a year of withdrawing children from lessons to do the LPUs, it was soon clear that so many children needed help, this alone wasn't going to be enough. Yvonne and assistant head Andy Farquhar, the school's literacy intervention coordinator, decided changes had to be made.
Over the last year, we tried something different. Instead of, because we're constantly withdrawing students from lessons, and we don't feel we want to do that, although we still have to a degree. But what we did instead, we introduced an intervention lesson and attached it to the English department timetable. So they all have, for example, 3 English lessons plus 1 intervention lesson, which means we could cater for gifted and talented students. We could cater for level 4 students, because nationally there's an issue of level 4 students getting stuck at level 4. And of course, then we could introduce as well the 3A class, the 3B and the 3C. It meant that we could also have a class for students who are well below level 3, perhaps even below level 2, due to having English as additional language.
Don't forget the paragraphs, so we have it like this, like I did, so you're going to do that?
The school also introduced the Reading and Writing Challenge for Year 8 children.
When we introduce that, how do we staff it? Well, again, it's maximising the staff that we've got. So this is where we really do believe that we've got some fantastic teaching assistants who have a number of expertise of supporting students one-to-one anyhow. So they have now become the teachers of the Reading and the Writing Challenge.
The school has a cross-curricular approach to literacy. Responsibility for leading the current focus on improving the quality of pupils' written work has been given to the head of English. A key part of the strategy he's chosen is the use of writing skeletons, a series of visual aids for planning different types of non-fiction writing.
Hopefully fairly obvious, you've got the 6 skeletons, and this time, instead of me giving you context for matching them up, I'm going to give you actual text to match. Okay. When a student comes to write, if they've done the plan correctly using the skeleton, the content of the writing is already there. The structure is there in a visual sense, so they're then free at the writing stage, using the plan, to focus on the linguistic aspects of their writing. I've recently had posters produced for every classroom, so that they're very visible to the students around the school. And that's almost like a subliminal message as well to staff. Please put this on your wall, it'll be there. And as the training is ongoing, the idea is that staff will begin to feel confident in using or experimenting with these skeletons.
So rather than me asking you to write me a paragraph or 2 or 3 on the senses, we're going to use a writing skeleton to try and organise our thoughts a little bit more. Using very descriptive
In some classes, like this food technology lesson, teachers are already experimenting with the writing skeletons.
Senses. So instead of saying very nice and brown and crispy, what's a different word we could use other than nice?
Sweet.
Have a look at these words here under it looks. Did it look colourful?
Attractive.
Oh, attractive. There you go.
It helps you because when you put words over here, you're not stuck for ideas. If I didn't do this, then I'd be thinking, oh, what am I supposed to write? But because I put the words over here, then it helped me in putting the paragraph over here.
So now that I'm using this system, maybe I should be getting something like a level 5. Before I was something like a level 4, because I wasn't planning that much. And so I realised planning could help you quite a lot, especially when you're writing stuff down.
Yeah, actually annotate onto the text. That would be great.
Convincing all teachers in all departments to use writing skeletons will require ongoing training. But the senior leadership is sure they're the best way to help pupils structure their writing.
We don't assume that one inset day means they're going to go away and do it, or they're able to do it, or they're confident in doing it, because our classrooms become our territory. They also become our little safety den. And what I've been able to do with my staff is to get them to move, shift their comfort zones, to try different things.
But this is the bottom line. At the end of the day, they are judged on their written, non-fiction writing skills. So it makes sense that we're teaching those skills at Key Stage 3. If we don't teach them, we are failing them.
We won't move on until staff are confident and happy. With the writing, you've got an example. Hopefully, it will be embedded by October 2006. If it isn't, I mean, staff might need more training, so we will train and support staff. We're a learning school. We consider ourselves to be a learning institution. We're all learning, not just the students.
They were so thrilled that they'd actually written something that was, you know, more substantial and descriptive, and they really enjoyed standing up and reading out what they'd written to other kids in the class as well. You know, we did
and teachers who've already discovered the benefits of writing skeletons are encouraging others to use them.
We need to look at how we can all, across the different technology areas, use, why not a similar skeleton in all of the 4 different technology areas, so that the kids are seeing, you know, that link through technology.
With a strong literacy strategy now in place, the head's getting set to hand over day-to-day managing of the intervention programmes for the Year 7 and 8s.
We are confident that what works is in place, so we're ready to train up other people to lead it. Hence, some of the TAs that have been working with the Reading and Writing Challenge, because of their expertise they've developed and their career progression becoming higher level TAs, they are now ready to actually lead it. So I have a more distant overseeing role, Andy has a more distant overseeing role, but we still make sure we regularly monitor, check and evaluate. The issues you've raised have been really useful actually, so I'm really confident as a team you're going to come up with a number of ideas.
Having handed over leadership of literacy intervention to the HLTAs, Yvonne will be keeping a close eye on whether the intervention strategies are still working.
Morning, Janet. Morning, everybody. Morning, ladies. Hi, Sue. Anything I should know about? Yes. Any leader in setting up any new strategies needs to be really, really clear that they monitor and measure the impact of it. Because actually, if you invest in it and it's not impacting on what it needs to do, then you need to rethink it. And I think it's also important that leaders recognise to take those risks, because without taking those risks, we don't learn from them. But it is important to make sure there are systems in place to monitor and track. Hurry up, young man.
Yvonne makes a point of keeping across every aspect of school life.
Good. Why would someone start
But she's not the only one who gets a chance to observe teachers in action.
Every member of staff gets to observe a colleague. So that's a key part of our, if you like, our CPD, our professional development. And it's amazing again, rather than sending a member of staff out on a course for £170 plus a £170 cover, to spend 1 hour in a colleague's classroom is so much more powerful. We've got the possibility of £5,000 for supporting our literacy work.
The transition coordinator could do some stuff. And the HLTAs have already said they want to go into primary schools, so that will give us...
Okay.
You know, so that will release staff.
So release staff and then use it for cover as well?
Yeah.
Yvonne Powell has made raising standards in literacy her mission and is already being rewarded with positive results.
Hi, Yvonne. I've got the levels for the LPU students, the final levels.
So what's the overall result?
Well, the overall result is 63% of them have progressed to level 4, and what's really encouraging as well is 16% of them have progressed to level 5.
That's fantastic.
So that's really good.
Curran has correct stance, but his back's...
Literacy is now central to everything taught at Little Ilford, and for Yvonne, a strong literacy strategy is fundamental if pupils are to succeed.
There are particular barriers to so many of our children achieving their potential, and one of the key barriers is literacy. So it's a real duty that we have to make sure that we remove those barriers so they don't become a block.
You've got 3 animals. You've got to decide which class it belongs to and what are its key features. How many people think they can finish it in 1 minute?
If I was to give any advice to another head teacher about how to lead and implement a literacy strategy, it would be to make sure it is integral. Integral in the curriculum, integral to any extra support, integral to some people's job descriptions. Because quite clearly, if it is that important for school, it needs to be important at all the different levels, from the head teacher down to the teaching assistant actually delivering it with the student in the library.